Welcome to Artificially Literate. This is the show where we really get into books, films, ideas, basically exploring anything that makes you think.
That's right. Each deep dive, we take something, maybe a piece of literature like today, or, a film, a cultural moment, and we try to unpack it.
Yeah, look at the philosophical angles, the literal meanings, all of it. So if you love stories, if you're looking for meaning, or maybe you just want a thoughtful takeaway.
Then this is definitely your space, a chance to reflect, learn, and maybe see things a little differently.
Okay, so today we are plunging right into one of the, I think, most provocative, most enduring pieces of English literature, Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray.
Classic. And a controversial one, even now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I want to kick us off with something Wilde himself said right in the preface to this book. It's a line that just immediately makes you stop and think about art. He says, "All art is quite useless."
That's wild for you, isn't it? Always the provocateur.
Right. It's such a bold claim, especially when we're about to dive into a story where a piece of art, this portrait, becomes, well, it becomes the living, breathing, terrifying heart of a man's soul.
It really does. And that statement, all art is quite useless. It's fascinating because he's not setting up some simple moral lesson where the art teaches you something directly.
Right.
He's positioning art as something else entirely, for its own sake maybe, for beauty, for sensation.
And yet, ironically, in this story, that very uselessness, that focus purely on the aesthetic, becomes incredibly powerful, destructive even.
Oh, absolutely. The aesthetic kind of takes over everything, and the consequences are, well, they're anything but useless for the people involved.
So let's unpack this masterpiece. Let's see what the picture of Dorian Gray still tells us, especially now in our, very visual, very influence-heavy modern world. Where do we even start? Maybe the beginning, that first scene.
Yeah, the genesis of it all, Basil Hallward's studio. It's just dripping with atmosphere.
It really is. Wilde paints it with such rich, almost overwhelming sensory detail. You can almost smell it, can't you? The rich odor of roses, the heavy scent of the lilac.
Carried on that light summer wind, and then just in the background, that faint sound.
The dim roar of London, yeah. It feels so idyllic, almost like Eden or something. A place of pure beauty, pure art.
But fragile.
Exactly. Fragile, like it's just waiting for something to break that perfection.
And that's the brilliance of the opening, I think. He sets up this incredibly beautiful, sensual space, this little sanctuary, and it makes the corruption that follows feel so much more jarring.
Right.
That dim roar of London, it's not just background noises, it's like a whisper of the real world, of society, temptation, judgment, all the things that are about to crash into this little artistic bubble.
It definitely foreshadows Lord Henry's entrance, doesn't it? The intrusion.
Completely. So in this almost sacred space, we meet the three key players.
Our central figures. First up, Basil Hallward, the artist himself, the guy who paints the portrait.
And he is utterly captivated by Dorian Gray. Consumed, almost.
Yeah, he tells Lord Henry that Dorian's personality.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating that if he let it, it would absorb my whole nature, my whole soul, my very art itself. That's intense.
It is. There's this almost spiritual, maybe even obsessive quality to how he sees Dorian, and he's terrified of outside influences corrupting him.
Especially Lord Henry. He practically begs him, don't spoil him.
Right. Basil represents that more traditional view, doesn't he? Art connected to purity, to the soul. He's vulnerable. His whole artistic identity feels tied up with Dorian's unspotted nature.
He sees the art as a reflection of the soul, and he's worried.
Deeply worried. His instinct is to protect, which of course sets up the conflict perfectly.
Because then you get the complete opposite. Lord Henry Wotton, the ultimate cynic, the sophisticated tempter.
Lord Henry. He strolls in, smoking, as was his custom, innumerable cigarettes.
Perfect image, right? Just languid, detached, maybe a bit disdainful of everything conventional.
Absolutely. And his lines are designed to shock, to unsettle. Like when he just casually drops, conscience and cowardice are really the same thing.
No. Just throws it out there.
He's witty, he's charming, completely amoral, and you can see why someone young and impressionable might be drawn in. He treats life, emotions, principles, like they're just interesting ideas to play with, not actual guides for living.
He's the voice of that whole fin de siècle thing, right? That end-of-the-century decadence.
Exactly. That late 19th century mood skepticism, indulgence, fascination with beauty, artificiality, pushing against those stiff Victorian morals. Lord Henry is that mood.
He uses paradox wit
to just dismantle everything. His presence changes the energy, and his words. Well, we see how potent they become, like seeds of corruption almost.
Yeah, life is an experiment. Other people's feelings are just delightful things to watch.
Chilling, really. He's the intellectual tempter.
And then, at the center of it all, the object of Basil's worship and Lord Henry's experimentation, Dorian Gray himself.
The paragon.
Basil describes him in almost heavenly terms. Wonderfully handsome, those finely curved scarlet lips, frank blue eyes, crisp gold hair.
He sounds unreal, like a statue.
Totally. He has all the candor of youth, as well as all youth's passionate purity. Basil literally says he worshipped him for being so untouched, so innocent.
And that's key, isn't it? He's presented as this beautiful blank slate, a tabula rasa, ready for someone to write on him.
His potential. A vessel waiting to be filled. Which makes him irresistible to both Basil's art and Lord Henry's, well, his philosophy.
You understand why Basil is so desperate to shield him, because he seems so pure, so vulnerable, but also so susceptible. That purity is his greatest strength and his biggest weakness.
And the shield fails. Spectacularly. Lord Henry just unleashes his ideas directly onto Dorian. This is where the spark really catches fire.
Right. He immediately tackles Basil's worry about influence head on.
With that chilling line, there is no such thing as a good influence. All influence is immoral from the scientific point of view.
Think about that. All influence. Immoral. He's saying any guidance, even good advice, strips you of your own thoughts, makes you an echo of someone else's music.
It's radical, terrifying almost. It implies that finding your true self means rejecting everything external.
And it's clever, isn't it? Because by calling all influence immoral, he justifies his own influence. He frames his manipulation not as bad, but as liberating, freeing Dorian from boring old society.
It's intellectual judo, twisting the argument.
Precisely. He's saying, don't listen to them, listen to me because I'm telling you not to listen to anyone. It's incredibly seductive, especially for a young man maybe feeling a bit stifled.
And then he lays out his core philosophy, self-development.
Not duty to others, not duty to God.
No. The aim is to realize one's nature perfectly. That is what each of us is here for. He says people have forgotten the duty that one owes to oneself. Why? Because of fear, terror of society, or terror of God?
It's a complete flip of Victorian values.
Right.
Radical individualism, live for yourself, explore every part of yourself. It still resonates today, that idea.
Massively.
Yeah.
It's that rebellion against constraints, against external authority. He's saying those things just hold you back from your true potential.
And for someone like Dorian, who's maybe been a bit sheltered, that must sound like freedom.
Real freedom. And then comes the deadliest part, the part that really hooks Dorian. The advice on temptation.
Ah, yes.
The killer line.
The only way to get rid of a temptation is to yield to it, resist it, and your soul grows sick with longing.
He makes yielding sound like therapy, like the healthy option.
Exactly. Not vice, not sin, but the path to a fresh impulse of joy. He even links it back to this idealized Hellenic ideal, ancient Greece, free from the maladies of medievalism, which is clearly a dig at.
Christian morality.
Yeah.
Guilt, repression, self-denial. He's basically saying those medieval monks got it all wrong. The Greeks knew how to live, indulge. It's natural. It's beautiful.
It's pure poison, but wrapped up so elegantly, making immediate gratification sound like classical wisdom. And it works. It completely lands with Dorian. This is the justification he maybe didn't even know he needed. It reframes everything. Sin becomes self-discovery. Indulgence becomes an aesthetic experience. Repression is the real sickness.
And Dorian's reaction tells you everything. He thinks words, mere words, how terrible they were, how clear and vivid and cruel. One could not escape from them. And yet what a subtle magic there was in them.
He's caught. Hook, line and sinker, hypnotize.
Those words aren't just ideas to him anymore. They're like active forces, changing how he sees himself, the world. They give him permission.
Permission and a fancy intellectual framework for desires he might have only vaguely felt before. Lord Henry gives them shape, makes them sound sophisticated. That blank slate, it's being etched now, deeply.
And this philosophical ignition leads directly, almost instantly, to the big moment. The wish.
The fateful wish. Basil finishes the portrait, captures Dorian's incredible youth, his beauty.
And Dorian, reeling from Lord Henry's words, suddenly terrified of losing that beauty, just blurts out this mad wish.
That he could stay young forever, and the painting would age instead. That his beauty wouldn't tarnish, and the face on the canvas, it would bear the burden. His passions, his sins.
It's the ultimate deal with the devil, isn't it? The Faustian bargain.
It is, but with that distinct Wildean twist. It's not just about living longer, it's about externalizing the consequences.
Right. He wants to live life to the full, indulge everything, but without it showing on him. No wrinkles, no gilt lines, no visible signs of decay. Let the painting handle that.
Separate the action from the consequence, which is, of course, impossible. Or is it? Because the wish, it works.
Chillingly fast. After his first real act of cruelty, how he treats Sybil Vane, the actress.
We'll definitely get more into her story. It's heartbreaking.
It is. But after he rejects her so brutally, he goes home, looks at the portrait, and sees something's changed. A touch of cruelty in the mouth.
Subtle at first. He tries to deny it. Maybe it's the light. Maybe he's imagining it. Guilt-playing tricks.
But no, it quickly becomes horribly apparent. The portrait has changed. The magic is real.
And that's the proof. The supernatural has officially entered his life. His soul is now literally, visibly tied to that canvas. It's a feedback loop.
An inescapable conscience, staring back at him.
More than just conscience. It becomes, as Wilde puts it, the visible emblem of conscience. A visible symbol of the degradation of sin.
An ever-present sign of the ruin men brought upon their souls. Wow.
He calls it a magical of mirrors, revealing his soul's corruption. Imagine that. Every sin, every cruel thought, every selfish act showing up on that face. Not abstract guilt you can ignore, but right there. Visible, ugly.
Horrifying, but it also gives him a weird kind of freedom, doesn't it? Because he still looks perfect.
That's the twisted part. Because the consequences are on the canvas, not on him, it almost gives him more license to sin. It raises that really unsettling question for us today, with things like online anonymity, curated profiles. If we could literally see our moral decay, would we change?
Or would we just find a better way to hide the picture?
Exactly, which is precisely what Dorian does.
He can't stand looking at it. The horror drives him to hide it away. Up in the attic, in that old schoolroom.
Locks the door. Throws a clock over at this fancy purple and gold pall.
It's more than just hiding a painting, though. It's symbolic.
Deeply symbolic. He's trying to hide his soul. From the world, yes, but maybe more importantly, from himself. Denial. Compartmentalization.
If I don't see the ugliness, maybe it doesn't exist. Or at least it doesn't affect me.
It sets up that central tension perfectly. The beautiful mask versus the rotting reality underneath. Self-delusion on a grand scale.
So with the portrait hidden, Dorian dives deeper into this aesthetic life. But it twists his relationships, makes them transactional. Like the Sybil Vane story.
Ah, Sybil. It's just tragic. Love becomes just another art form for Dorian to experience, to consume.
And Sybil, she's this young, talented actress. Poor background, but brilliant on stage. She falls completely for Dorian. Sees him as her Prince Charming. Literally, like, out of a play.
Her love makes her feel free, she says. It fuels her acting. She thinks to be in love is to surpass oneself.
She's pure romance, pure ideal. Her art thrives on illusion, on becoming someone else. Juliet, Rosalind. Love makes them more real for her.
She sees Dorian through that same theatrical lens, doesn't she? Not as a real person, but as this perfect character, which is setting her up for a massive fall.
Huge fall. Because the night Dorian brings Lord Henry and Basil to watch her act, she's terrible, a complete agonizing failure.
Dorian is mortified, publicly humiliated.
And her explanation later is heartbreaking. She says she couldn't act because she knew real love. When she knew its unreality, she died, as Juliet might have died.
Wow. So real emotion killed her art.
Seems like it. Her art depended on pretending, on imitation. When actual life, real feeling touched her, the magic vanished. She couldn't pretend anymore.
That's a profound clash, isn't it? Art versus reality. Ideal love versus messy, real experience. Her artistic gift relied on that distance, and when it collapsed.
Her art died. And then tragically, so did she.
And Lord Henry's reaction to all this? Predictably detached.
Chillingly so. He starts by saying, almost blandly, love is a more wonderful thing than art. It sounds almost human.
For a second.
And bam, he flips it. They are both simply forms of imitation. And tells Dorian to just drop her because if she knows as little about life as she does about acting, she will be a delightful experience.
Just an experience. Disposable. A sensation to be enjoyed and then discarded when it's no longer amusing.
He completely devalues her, her feelings, her life. It's all just raw material for Dorian's amusement.
It fits his philosophy perfectly. Prioritize sensation, novelty. Avoid messy emotions, responsibility. Empathy is just inconvenient.
And Sybil's end. Suicide. Described so vaguely, euphemistically. Swallowed something by mistake, some dreadful thing they use at theaters.
Even her death is framed theatrically.
And Lord Henry.
Yeah.
Still unmoved, calls it an inartistic tragedy, like he's critiquing her exit.
But admits it appealed to their sense of dramatic effect. Unbelievable.
And then that final famous dismissal. The girl never really lived, and so she has never really died. To you, at least, she was always a dream.
Dehumanizing her completely,
Yeah.
reducing her entire existence to just a figment of Dorian's imagination, an aesthetic object. It gives Dorian permission to feel nothing, to take no responsibility.
It's a horrific justification for cruelty, and it sets a terrible pattern for Dorian.
And then comes the next big influence, the infamous Yellow Book.
Ah, yes. Lord Henry sends it to him. This strange book, a novel without a plot and with only one character, being indeed simply a psychological study of a certain young Parisian.
It's widely thought to be based on Huysman's Auribours Against Nature, and it's not just a book in the story. It becomes Dorian's manual, his Bible almost.
A blueprint for how to live.
Exactly. No plot, just intense focus on this one character's decadent life, his sensations, his psychology. It invites you to absorb the philosophy, not just follow a story. It basically replaces Dorian's conscience.
And what philosophy does it push?
It encourages the reader, Dorian, to experience all the passions and modes of thought that belong to every century except his own. To try everything.
Blurring the lines between good and evil.
Completely. It calls self-denial, morality, artificial, renunciations. But sin, that's a natural rebellion. It's a sophisticated argument for indulgence.
It intellectualizes hedonism. Makes it sound deep.
Precisely. It frames a life lived purely for sensation as the peak of culture, of personal development. It attacks conventional morality, saying it mutilates your true nature. Sin is liberation.
And Dorian buys it completely.
It gives him that intellectual cover he craves. He's not just being depraved, he's being advanced, enlightened, progressive. It's moral subversion, dressed up beautifully.
The book itself is described seductively, talking about the life of the senses in the terms of mystical philosophy.
Right. It mixes sensation with deep thought, leads Dorian into a malady of dreaming, an obsession with pure sensation. It becomes almost a scientific project for him.
Studying pleasure, not just enjoying it, but analyzing it.
And that mix is dangerous. Sensory indulgence combined with this pseudo-intellectual, almost mystical justification. He can dive into perfumes, jewels, tapestries, music.
While telling himself it's a profound quest for meaning, a higher state of being.
Exactly. It creates this huge gap between his inner emptiness and his outer actions, which he frames as these deep explorations.
And it takes over his life. The book becomes his guide, driving these obsessions. He wants to create a new scheme of life, with its own philosophy, its own principles.
Finding the highest realization in spiritualizing of the senses, he wants to be more than just a dandy, a fashion leader, an arbiter elegantiarum.
He wants to be a master of sensation, a living embodiment of the Yellow Book's philosophy.
It's a meticulously curated life, all designed for specific sensations, avoiding anything too real, too morally engaging, but it's all surface, all chasing an external ideal while the inside rots.
And thinking about that today, that obsession with curating the perfect life, accumulating experiences, focusing on the surface, it feels incredibly relevant, doesn't it?
Painfully relevant. Consumerism, social media personas, the endless chase for validation through likes, followers, it's Dorian's world amplified.
Are we all just polishing our exteriors while the inner self gets neglected, hiding our own portraits?
Wilde's novel really feels like a prophecy sometimes, a cautionary tale for the Instagram age. Are we performing life instead of living it, focusing on the mask, ignoring the face beneath?
So as Dorian goes down this path, society starts whispering, strange rumors start spreading through London, the clubs are buzzing.
He's seen in foulest dens, hanging out with criminals, thieves, and coiners. His reputation is getting darker.
But here's the paradox. Despite all the gossip, he still looks amazing. That pure, bright, innocent face, his marvelous, untroubled youth.
And people literally can't believe the bad stuff when they see him. His beauty shields him.
It perfectly highlights the hypocrisy, the superficiality of that society. Appearance trumps reality, like Lord Henry said, better have a good cook than a good character.
Dorian's face is his get-out-of-jail-free card, magically effective.
But the damage is real, even if it doesn't show on him. Basil sees it. He's disturbed by the rumors, by the change in Dorian. He notes that Dorian's friendship is fatal to young men.
Yeah, he lists examples: suicides, ruined reputations, careers destroyed, people whose lives Dorian touched and wrecked.
It shows the real cost. Even if Dorian seems untouched, his influence is devastating. He's spreading decay.
It's a powerful indictment of that kind of selfish existence. His innocent look makes him even more dangerous because it hides the poison. He's a walking moral hazard.
Okay, this is maybe a good place to pause for a sec. If you're finding this deep dive into, well, human nature, influence, the cost of youth, if you find it as fascinating as we do.
Remember, you can follow Artificially Literate. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, we love digging into these complex ideas and connecting with other curious minds, so definitely follow us for more.
Okay, so we're heading into the really dark consequences now, the place Dorian ultimately has to pay.
And maybe before we jump into that, another quote from Lord Henry seems fitting here, that chilling observation. The things one feels absolutely certain about are never true. That is the fatality of faith and the lesson of romance.
Deeply cynical, isn't it? It ties right back into his whole project of undermining belief, morality.
He's saying certainty is an illusion.
Basically, our deepest convictions are just wishes, desires, life, romance. They teach you that foundations are shaky. It's pure skepticism. He's urging Dorian to trust nothing but his own fleeting sensations.
Setting the stage for the final crash.
Perfectly, the ultimate disillusionment.
Okay, so Dorian's decay is hidden, but the burden of that portrait, that secret, it becomes unbearable. And it leads to the confrontation with Basil, and Basil's tragic end.
Basil, the moral compass, just can't ignore the rumors anymore. The gap between Dorian's face and his reputation is too wide.
He goes to Dorian, pleads with him, lead such a life as will make the world respect you. And then he asks for it, the ultimate request. Let me see your soul.
It's more than just asking about respectability, isn't it? It's a desperate plea to save him, to make him face the truth. Basil feels connected to that portrait, to Dorian's soul. He needs to see it.
It's the ultimate challenge to Dorian's whole facade, a demand for honesty, a last chance.
And Dorian, in this moment of, what is it? Pride, perversity, he agrees. He lets Basil see the portrait.
And Basil is just shattered, sees the hideous face on the canvas grinning at him, the lines of cruelty, the sodden eyes, where innocence used to be.
And the final awful confirmation, he recognizes his own brushwork. It is the portrait, his art, violated, desecrated.
It's the moment the horror becomes undeniable. The metaphor is made flesh or canvas. For Basil, it's a betrayal on every level. His art, his belief in Dorian, his sense of purity.
It confirms all his worst fears, the cost of that bargain laid bare.
Even then, Basil tries one last time. He begs Dorian to pray. It is never too late, Dorian. He points at the painting. Don't you see that accursed thing leering at us?
He still believes redemption is possible, even now. He's trying to use the very symbol of sin as a path back. It's heartbreaking, his faith against Dorian's emptiness.
But Dorian doesn't see a path back. He feels this uncontrollable feeling of hatred for Basil Hallward. And it says it's suggested to him by the image on the canvas, like the portrait itself is telling him what to do.
That's terrifying, the reflection dictating the action.
And he does it. He grabs a knife and kills Basil, stabs him, the point of no return.
It's the ultimate act of self-preservation for Dorian's secret, isn't it? Killing the creator of his conscience, killing the one person who saw the truth and begged him to change.
He's murdering the mirror, the moral judgment. It cements his fall completely. There's no coming back from this.
And immediately he needs to cover it up. Desperation sets in. He turns to Alan Campbell.
A former friend, a scientist, brilliant, apparently.
And Dorian blackmailed him, forces him to use his chemical knowledge to dispose of Basil's body, make it disappear.
Campbell refuses at first. Horrified, I will have nothing to do with this matter. But Dorian has something on him, some dark, unspoken secret.
Which just hints at the depth of Dorian's past corruption, doesn't it? He's ruined others before. He has leverage.
And Campbell, the man of science, of precision, is forced to use his skills for this nightmare. It shows how anything, even knowledge, can be twisted to serve evil.
His detachment becomes his downfall, in a way. He's coerced into becoming an accomplice.
And afterwards, after the gruesome task is done, Campbell is described as pale, but absolutely calm.
That calm is terrifying. It speaks to the psychological shock, the compartmentalization needed to cope with something so horrific, the dehumanizing effect.
How much horror can you just swallow before you break? Campbell is a warning sign of the collateral damage Dorian leaves behind.
But even with Basil gone, the body destroyed, the past isn't buried, it comes back, in the form of James Vane.
Sybil's brother, the sailor. He made a vow, didn't he, years ago? If Prince Charming ever hurt his sister,
he'd track him down and kill him like a dog. He becomes this relentless figure of vengeance. Consequences personified.
A living reminder that actions have echoes. You can hide the portrait, but you can't erase the past entirely. Someone remembers. Someone carries the scars.
James Vane is fate, catching up, slowly but surely.
And years later, he actually finds Dorian in an opium den of all places, a grim setting.
But Dorian looks exactly the same, still young. James thinks he must be mistaken. It can't be the same man from nearly 2 decades ago.
Dorian gets a reprieve, based purely on his unnatural youth.
But then a woman in the den speaks up. Someone else Dorian ruined long ago. She recognizes him. And she tells James Vane, it's nigh on 18 years since Prince Charming made me what I am.
The truth comes out. His agelessness is confirmed. The past is right there, confronting him. His immunity is also his curse.
It's a shocking moment of exposure. His mask slips, just for a second. The victims remember. History exists, even if he tries to deny it.
But then, fate twists again. James Vane tracks Dorian to his country estate, ready for revenge.
And gets accidentally shot during a hunting party, killed by a stray bullet.
Just like that, pure chance. Dorian feels safe now, relieved. He escapes again.
It seems like more incredible luck for Dorian, reinforcing his sense of invulnerability. But because it's an accident, there's no real confrontation, no justice served. It just happens.
Does it make him safe, or just delay the inevitable reckoning?
It feels like a deferral. The universe isn't quite done with him yet. The shadows are still there.
Which brings us to the final act, the last confrontation. Dorian is restless, haunted. He tries to do a good action.
Right. He spares Hetty Merton, this village girl he'd started to pursue. He tells Lord Henry, maybe trying to convince himself to, I'm going to be better.
A desperate attempt at redemption.
A hollow one. Because he goes to check the portrait, hoping to see some improvement, some sign of this newfound goodness. It's worse. It shows a look of cunning, and in the mouth the curved wrinkle of the hypocrite. His motive wasn't pure. It was vanity, maybe curiosity, maybe just a new sensation.
And the blood stain from Basil's murder
Seemed brighter and more like blood newly spilled. His attempt at goodness somehow made his past sins even more vivid, more damning.
So, no redemption possible. The portrait proves it. True change has to be internal, not just a performance.
He realizes his soul is truly lost. And he blames the portrait. He thinks if he destroys it, he can kill this monstrous soul life, free himself from its warnings, its judgment.
He wants to kill the past, erase the evidence, find peace. He still thinks the portrait is the cause of his misery, not the reflection.
It's his final, fatal mistake, still trying to externalize, to escape consequence, believing that destroying the mirror will destroy the reality it shows.
And then comes the climax. The stunning, ironic twist. He takes the same knife he used to kill Basil.
Poetic justice right there.
And stabs the portrait. There's this horrible cry of agony.
And the servants find him dead on the floor, but he's unrecognizable. Withered, wrinkled, and loathsome of visage, all the corruption, all the years of sin instantly transferred onto his own body.
While the torture
Is hanging on the wall, restored to its original perfection. Splendid in all the wonder of his exquisite youth and beauty.
Wow. So by trying to kill his conscience, he killed himself. The art remains pure, eternal. But the man bears the true weight of his soul.
It's unforgettable, the ultimate price. You cannot separate yourself from your actions. Denying accountability doesn't erase the sin, it just lets it fester until it consumes you. The only things that identify the body, his rings.
The external markers. All that's left of the man who valued only the surface. Chilling.
Absolutely chilling.
So, reflecting on all this, what does it mean for us now? That danger of prioritizing the outside over the inside. The perfect image versus inner integrity. It feels so current.
Doesn't it? Digital personas, filters, chasing likes. We are constantly curating an image. Dorian Gray is this powerful warning. What are we hiding? Are we neglecting our real selves for the sake of the perfect profile? Are we creating our own hidden, corrupted portraits?
Becoming a society of Dorian Grays, where the mask matters more than the face.
It forces you to think about authenticity and the potential cost of living purely for appearance.
And Lord Henry's influence, that seductive pull toward hedonism, instant gratification, extreme individualism.
We see echoes of that everywhere, don't we? Philosophies that champion self-interest above all, often ignoring consequences, responsibility.
The novel shows how destructive that can be, not just for Dorian, but for everyone he touches. It's a warning against living only for sensation, without a moral compass.
It really challenges us to look at the influences we let in, the philosophies we adopt, especially in a world yelling, have it all, without mentioning the price tag.
And the portrait as conscience, as that visible burden of sin. Do we have mirrors like that today, or just more ways to hide?
That's a huge question. In this age of distraction, echo
Mhm.
chambers, it's so easy to avoid looking inward, to scroll past discomfort, to find validation for anything.
Are we losing the ability to see ourselves honestly?
The novel pushes us. Are we seeking out our own mirrors, honest relationships, self-assessment, engaging with difficult ideas? Or are we building more screens to hide behind, becoming blind to our own moral state?
And the art versus reality theme, too. Sybil's story, where real life killed her art. Now we have AI art, deepfakes, virtual reality. The lines are blurring everywhere.
Wilde was exploring that tension over a century ago. How easily we can mistake performance for reality or let curated images shape our values. When art and reality become indistinguishable, what happens to truth? What happens to us?
It's a serious question for our times. Where do we draw the line? What if the lines just vanish?
The novel warns about losing touch with reality itself.
But ultimately, the story's final message seems clear. Dorian tried everything to escape, deny, forget. But accountability finds you.
You can't outrun it forever. The internal decay is real and it will eventually surface. The laws of moral consequence, Wilde suggests, are absolute.
Denying sin doesn't erase it, it just lets it grow inside until it destroys you. Integrity, self-honesty, they're not optional extras, they're essential.
A timeless, terrifying lesson. The cost of abandoning them is, well, it's everything.
So maybe let's wrap up our deep dive there. But with one last thought, another line from the book, from Mr. Erskine. He says, "When the verities become acrobats, we can judge them."
When truths start twisting and turning, pay attention.
Exactly. Keep your eyes open. Stay critical. A good thought to end on for The Picture of Dorian Gray.
Indeed. A novel that certainly gives you plenty to judge and to think about.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into The Picture of Dorian Gray here on Artificially Literate.
We really hope it gave you some new perspectives, sparked some curiosity about this incredible book and how it still speaks to us today.
Absolutely. Please do check out our other episodes and follow us for more discussions like this. We'll be back soon with our next book.
Stay tuned for that.
And remember, feed your brain, starve your inner fool.